Hey guys, welcome back to Coding Stuff, and in this video we'll see how we can create expandable recycler view. But I already have one video on expandable recycler view, so why to do another, right? So this is different, it's not the same thing, and it is the trickier than the simple expandable recycler view. So before starting, let me show you something. So let me open my Visor. So I guess you have used Amazon app, and in the bottom navigation bar you can see this menu button. So when you click on that, you can see one recycler view. All right, so but when I click on this prime or any of the item, the child item expands, which is a recycler view, but it is taking full width of the device, as you can see. So this is tricky, its parent width is only this much, but it is taking full width of the device. Okay, as you can see this one as well, and the list changes. That is easy, but the tricky thing is how this child view is going beyond the width of this its parent item, right? So I find it crazy and tried to replicate it. So first I go through the internet, and most of the people were saying that you can increase the width of the child item in the runtime. Yeah, we can do that, no issues. I have done it in the past as well, but when I was doing it, I find it bit complex to handle animations and all that. So I tried another way and it worked, and it is much simpler. It was simple for me, I guess it will be simpler for you as well. Now we'll see the demo app that I have already prepared. So as you can see, when I click on the game, this is expanding and it is taking full width. Alright, and then I click on the Android development. So yeah, you can see the nice animations as well. So yeah, a lot of talking, let's try to build this, and I'll put my source code in the description box, so if you get some error you can search with that. And also I have prepared the layouts already. You can just copy them from my GitHub, or you can create your own. So first of all, we'll talk about the child item layout, which is much simpler. As you can see in the visor, it's just an image view and the text view. And when you look at the parent item, this is the logic I tried and it worked. So I have one card view. Okay, let me just collapse this. All right, so first I have one constraint layout, then I have another constraint layout in which I have two cards. As you can see, this card is this one and this card is this one. Again, the card is containing constraint layout and text view and the image view. And I have another card which is recycler card, and inside that I have child recycler view. I wrapped a recycler view inside the card view, so we can get some elevations and corner radius. Alright, okay, so let me close this for now. We'll go to the activity main and we'll create one recycler view instead of text view. So recycler view, its width will be 0 dp and height will be 0 dp as well. I'll delete this text view. I'll provide some margin to this, so margin top of 12 dp. Okay, alright, then we'll go to the Gradle script, build.gradle app level. I'll enable the view binding, so build features, inside that view binding I'll make it true, then I'll click on sync now. Alright, it is done. So first of all, we'll go to the main activity, and here I'll create one binding variable. So while binding, this will be equals to activity main binding dot inflate, and I'll pass the layout inflator. Right, then inside the set content view, alright, binding dot root. Then we'll set some properties to our recycler view. So binding dot, okay, we didn't give it the ID, so ID we'll name it as a main recycler view, and here we'll write main recycler view dot set has fixed size. I'll make it true. Then binding dot main recycler view dot The layout manager, here I'll use a linear layout manager. I'll pass this over here. Alright, then I'll call one function which will be prepare data. I'll pass the binding over there. Then I'll create the function over here, private fun prepare data. We'll pass the binding over here. It will be of type activity main binding. So we'll come back here later. First we'll prepare data class for our recycler views. So I'll click on the Kotlin class and file. I'll select the data class. I'll name this as a parent item. Alright, okay, so before creating this, let's just create one data class for child item. So child item, this will take two parameters. First will be title of type string, and then val image of type int, as we will be using drawable. Okay, so then you can see in the layout we have two card views. So for each card we'll have one data class. So for that I'll create another data class and I'll name it as a parent content. Alright, and this will take few parameters. First will be image of type int, then title of type string, then we'll pass list of child items. So child item list of type list of child items. Then we'll have another parameter which will be var. We'll name it as is open. This will be of type boolean and we'll initialize it as a false. Cool. So in the main model class, which is a parent item, we'll pass two parent contents. So in here we'll write val parent content, this should be 1, and we'll pass another which will be second. So the tricky part with this approach is you need to model your data classes properly. So we have two cards, two items. So we created one parent item in which we pass two parent contents which is holding the data, and in this parent content we have image, title and child item list as well. So yeah, so adding data to the list, I always prefer to do it in the end of the video or at the last, but in this case we will be doing a lot of experiments in our adapter class. So I want our data to be ready and we don't have to come back here again. Okay, so first of all I'll create one parent item list here. So parent item list, this will be equals to mutable list of parent item, not content. Alright, then we'll create one child item list. So child items 1, I'll name it like this. Again this will be equals to mutable list of child item. Right, we'll add some data to this list. So child items 1 dot add child item, and I'll pass this string which will be, let's say, c, then r dot drawable dot c. I added some drawables in my drawable folder, so yeah, I'll directly use them. Then I'll duplicate this few times. So this will be C++, this will be Java, and this will be C#, not $C#. We'll name it, we'll use CPP, C++, okay, then Java, and then C#. Alright, so one child item list is ready. Cool. Then I'll create one parent content 1. I'll name it as a parent content 1. So this will be equals to parent content, and here we need to pass, so in this constructor we need to pass image, title and child item list. So first of all we'll pass the image, so it will be of game development. So game, I guess it is console. Then I'll give it a title, so game development. Then the list that we have prepared, child item 1, let me just collapse the project view. Alright, so one parent content is ready, so I need to create a few more. I'll just copy this one, I'll paste it over here. This will be child items 2, copy it and paste it over here. This will be parent content 2, and this will be Android, so Android, I'll name it as a Android development, and this should be child items 2. I'll remove this, so I'll use kotlin here, we'll name it a kotlin. We'll have XML. So we have two parent contents, parent content 1 and parent content 2. So we can add this two in this parent item list. So what we'll do, parent item list dot add, and here we'll pass new parent item in which we need to pass two parent contents, so parent content 1 and parent content 2. Alright, so this thing is for one item, you can see. So we have our first item ready and we added that to the list. So now I'll pause the video and I'll add rest of the data. Okay, so alright, I have added rest of the data and I repeated some data as well, so it's fine. Okay, so our main activity is ready. Now I'll go to the package, we'll create one adapter class. So I'll name it as a parent adapter, and this will take parent item list, and this will be of type list of parent item. This will inherit from RecyclerView.adapter, and we'll create one inner class. So inner class parent view holder, in which we'll pass binding of type parent item binding, which is this layout, and this will inherit from RecyclerView.view holder. We need to pass binding dot root there, not the recycler card. Okay, alright, root. So then we can pass this parent view holder over here, we can import it. Alright, then I'll click on this, it will ask us to implement 3 methods. I'll click on OK. Then I'll go back to the main activity. I'll create one adapter, so val adapter, this will be parent adapter, and we'll pass the parent item list there. Then we can set this adapter to our recycler view, so main recycler view dot adapter equals to adapter. Alright, so we are done for the main activity, everything is set up here. I'll close the main activity, I'll go to the parent adapter, which is the trickiest part over here. So first of all, we can simply return the list size here, so parent item list. Okay, we need to make it private val, so private val, alright, then parent item list dot size. This is done. So then in the on create view holder, we'll create one binding variable. This will be parent item binding dot inflate, and in this we'll pass layout inflator from parent dot context, then parent as a view group, then attach to root, which will attach to parent, which will be false. Then we need to return the inner class, which is view holder. From here we'll pass the binding. Alright, and in here we'll have one function which will take parent item of type parent item, and we'll come back here. So from the on bind view holder, we just need to call this bind function. So holder dot bind and parent item list of position. Alright, so these 3 things are done. We don't need these 3 things again, so I'll just close them. Alright, okay, so first of all in this I'll create one init block. in which I'll set some properties to our child recycler view. So child recycler view set has fixed size, I'll make it true. Then binding dot child recycler view set layout manager, this will be equals to linear layout manager, pass this, and we can get context from binding dot root dot context. All right, and we'll also have on click listeners on our card. So binding dot card 1 set on click listener, then we'll have binding dot card 2 set on click listener. All right, cool. So here we'll set some data to our widget. So binding dot parent tv dot text equals, let me just open the layout so you can get the idea. So this is our parent tv, parent iv, parent 2 tv, parent 2 iv, and this one is child recycler view. All right, so we'll go to the adapter, and this will be parent item of parent content 1 title, then binding dot parent iv, this one set image resources, and I'll get that from parent item parent content 1 image. All right, then we'll set properties of or parent 2 tv text equals to parent item or parent content 2 title, then binding dot parent 2 iv dot set image resource parent item parent content 2 dot image. All right, so the simple thing is done. Now the logic of expanding the views. First of all, when you click on the card 1, when you click on this card item 1, will make this is open true, and if you click on this will make it's is open true and this one is false. All right, so for that over here what I'll do, so the logic is parent item list, and we can pass the adapter position over here dot parent content 1 dot is open, will make this not equals to parent item list of adapter position parent content 1 is open. Okay, so whatever the state of this is open was, we'll just reverse it and copy this, and I'll paste it over here. This time it will be 2 and this will be 2 as well, and I'll create another function which will be, I'll just create one function private one set RecyclerView, or we can name it as set child RecyclerView. All right, so we'll pass the list here, so I'll name it as child item list. This will be our type list of child items. All right, okay, so we'll come back here when we create adapter for this child recycler view. All right, so now the logic is to expand and collapse the views. So for that I'll come to this bind function, and here I'll have one check, which is when inside this I'll pass true. So when parent item dot parent content 1 is open, this one is one case, then we have another case which is parent content 2 is open, and as we pass boolean here we need to write else condition as well, so we'll write else. All right, cool. So before doing stuff here, we can just create child recycler view. So for that I'll go to the project, I'll create one child adapter, and this will be simpler. So I'll just pause the video and I'll do it in real quick and will explain it to you. So alright, the child adapter is ready. It just won the child item layout. Alright, this one. So in here, in the inner class, we just find it the IDs. Now on create view holder, we inflated the layout. On bind view holder, we set the data, and in the get item count, we just return the data. Alright, then we can move to the parent adapter, and here we'll create one val adapter, and this will be equals to child adapter. We need to pass the child item list there. Then binding dot child recycler view dot adapter equals to adapter. Cool. So we'll call this functions from here. So if the parent content 1 is open, we need to expand our nested recycler view. So for that, set up child recycler view. We'll pass parent item dot parent content 1 child item list, and in here parent item 2 child item list. So inside this we can do it, just write binding dot child recycler view recycler cart. Will make its visibility to visible, so view dot visible, hence will make it invisible in the else condition, so invisible or gone. Alright, and after doing this, we can just call notify item changed, and in here we need to pass the adapter position. Alright, let me just copy this one, I'll paste it over here. Now I'll try to run the app and we'll see how does it look now. Okay, so the app is installed. Okay, let me click on the game development. Yeah, this is working. So C, C++, Java. Alright, so half of the job is done. Now the tricky part, which is to make this to make this collapse when other items are clicked. So we need to work on that, and we'll add some animations as well over here. So without the animation, it is hard to find which was expanded. Alright, so I can see this is JavaScript, yeah, front-end web. Cool. So now I'll minimize this and we'll work on the animations and all. So first of all, I'll go to the project. I'll add one Android resource directory in which the resource type will be anim, which stands for animation. I'll create two animations. First will be up, and I'll create another one which will be down. So up and down. I'll name it simple. Okay, at the first we'll implement the up animation. So in here I'll use few properties. So the first will be fill after. I'll make it true, as this property persists the animation which was lastly added. Okay, then I'll add interpolator. So Android interpolator, and this will be equals to Android anim and linear interpolator. Alright, so we'll be using translations, so translate, and in this first property I'll add which will be duration. So Android duration, I'll make it to 500 milliseconds. Then we'll also make it fill after to true. So fill after, this will be true, and then from y delta. Okay, so this value will give it 10%, 10% p, and to y delta from 0%, so 0% pixels. So from 0 we want to go to the 10%, so that is the translation from 0 to 10. So then we'll add another property which is start offset. So we don't want any delay, so I'll make it 0. Alright, if you want some delay you can give it particular value, milliseconds, whatever the delay you want to provide, but in our case we don't want any delay. Alright, so then I can just copy this thing and I'll paste it over here. We don't need interpolate over here, so I'll cut it. I'll cut this line as well, and so these things will be just a reverse. So I'll make it from y delta to 0, and from and 2y delta will make it 10%. So this time from 0 to go down to the 10%. I'll close this up and down animations. These are done. We'll go to the parent adapter. First of all, I'll press Alt Ctrl O to optimize the imports. Okay, so now we want to fix the problem of when we click on this one, this should collapse. So for that, what I will need to do, so we'll override on bind view folder which has payloads. Okay, this one. Alright, and what we can do again, okay, so whenever we click on the card 1 or card 2, first thing we'll check if any other item is expanded or open. So for that I'll create one function which will be is any open, and I'll pass the position there. So get adapt to position. Alright, so I can create one val which will be parent contained. This will be equals to this thing. Alright, then I can just replace this stuff, replace these things. Alright, similarly over here I'll just copy this, paste it over here, and this should be parent contained 2. Then I can replace these 3 things, these 2 things, this one and this one. Alright, so we'll go over here, we'll create one function which will be private one is any opened. This takes a position parameter, so position of type int. Alright, so I guess I mistyped the spelling. Alright, no issues. Okay, so first of all over here I'll check val. I'll create one val which will be temp, and I'll check in the list if any item is open. So parent item list, I'll use first index of first. Alright, this one. Here I'll check it dot parent contain 1 is open, or it dot parent contain 2 is open. So if any of the parent contain 1 or any of the item which is open, will store it in this temp variable. And in here what I will do, I'll check if temp is greater than or equals to 0 and temp is not equal to the position that we get passed. I need to write and over here, so and. Alright, so these 2 conditions it needs to satisfy. So if any other item is open, means we enter this if condition. What we'll do, parent item list dot or position or temp, we can use temp over here. So temp dot parent content 1 is open, we'll make it false. I'll duplicate this, and this time it will be 2, and then we can call notify item changed, but in this we'll pass temp and another parameter, kind of constant, so which will be 12 for now. And then in our the on bind view holder which we overloaded, okay, this one here, we'll have one check if the payloads is not empty, so dot is not empty, and payloads at position 0, this equals to 12. So if this is the case, we'll call one function which will be holder dot close expanded views, and inside the holder we'll create that function. So over here, part 1 is close expanded views, this should be not private, alright. And in here what we'll do, binding dot our child recycler view will make it visibility to gone, so view dot gone, alright. So let's check out if this is working or not. So I'll click on this run button, so it is installed. Just click on the game development, okay, it is expanded. Let's click on front end web, fine, this is working. Let's click on the AI, collapse it. Okay, so now if I click on front end web and if I click on AI, the content is not changing, that is the issue. But our expanding and collapsing functionality is working, just the content is not changing, and yeah, there is another issue. Okay, so let's just fix all of them. First, in this set child recycler view, we are making this recycler card visible, but in the collapse close expanded views, we are making child recycler visibility to gone. So instead of this, we'll write recycler card, and I guess in the else condition, yeah, it is recycler card. And what we can do here, we can just copy this stuff. When we click on the card 1, what we will do, we'll make parent content 2 is open to false, or we'll just reverse what it was before, or we can make it false, right? We don't want to reverse it, we will false it. And over here, parent content 1 should be open, and this should work. Let's just try to run the app again. If I click on front end web and if I click on AI, so yeah, the content is changing. If I double click on it, okay, so yeah, so everything is working now. We are just remaining with the animations. Cool. So for adding the animations, what we will do, so when we click on this card 1, we want to animate the card 1. For that, over here we can have one check if the parent content is open, means parent 1 is open. Then let's just first create some vals for our animations. We'll create one up anim. This will come from animation utils dot load animations, and we can get context from binding dot root dot context and r dot anim dot up. I'll just duplicate this, but this time it will be down anim, and this will be down anim. Okay, I'll just copy these 2 lines and I'll paste it in the card to listener as well. And over here, if it is open, I'll just write binding dot card 1 dot start animation, and we'll pass down animation, else we'll pass up animation. So if it is not expanded, we'll move it to the down, and if it is expanded, we'll move it to the upside. Right, I can just copy these 2 things from here and I can paste it. over here, but this will be cart 2, this will be cart 2, right? So instead of calling notify item change, normal notify item change, we'll call notify item change with payloads, and we'll pass unit as unit is void. If you are coming from Java, you know what void is. It's kind of nothing. So when we call notify item change with payloads, it will trigger this on bind view holder, and it will check for this condition, and it will rerun the bind function. Okay, let's try to run the app again, and we'll see how our animations look. So if I click on this, you can see the animations. All right, cool, but there is another issue. We will fix it. That's not the issue. We have not worked on it yet. Okay, so we also want to animate this recycler view. So for that, what I will do, just duplicate this, and instead of this, we'll write a recycler card. I'll copy this and I'll paste it in the card 2 as well. Right, let's run. Okay, so our recycler view is also animating. All right. Okay, so now the thing is, when we animate this and when we animate this is not going back because we haven't worked on that yet. But if I just click on this, and if I click on this is animating, but we also want to animate this back when I click on this. For that, what we can do, in the card 1 set on click listener, here we can have another check in which, just copy this line, I'll have an if this is true, then I'll copy this, but it will be card 2. So if the parent content 2 was open, we'll just animate it to the upper side and we'll make it false, right? We can just, and we'll do similar with the, when we click on the card 2. So over here we'll have if with this, paste it, and we'll paste this should be card 1, and we'll cut this and we'll paste it over here. All right, let's try to run again. So if I click on front end web, it is going down. If I click on AI, it is going up, and it is going down. So this is working for corresponding items, but we need to make it work when we click on other item as well. So for that, we need to go to the is any item opened function, and here we have to use some logics, or we don't need any logic here for now. We need one logic, but I'll explain it to you later. So when we call notify item change, this will go to the here, and it will check for the payloads value, and it is 12 as we passed from is any item opened function, and it is triggering this close expand views. Will go to the here, and I'll copy the up animations. I'll copy it from here, and we'll write binding dot card 1 start animations up anim, duplicate, and this should be card 2. So let's try to rerun the app. So if I click on this, and if I click on game, so it is going up. If I click on this, all right, but the issue is, if you look at it carefully, you'll see this is expanded now, so it is down animated. But if I click on this will also get animated a bit. You'll see, as you can see. Okay, so we want to make sure that when we select other item, this only which one was opened, that should be collapsed. All right, so for that, here we need conditions to collapse these views. So if the card 1 was expanded, we'll collapse only it. If card 2 was expanded, we will only collapse to it. Okay, For that, what logic we can do, so we need to open is any item open function, and here first of all I'll have one condition. If the position is not equals to RecyclerView no position, we'll wrap all of this inside this condition. Okay, and inside this I'll create one var which will be which item opened. It will be of type int, as we will assign it some constants. So we'll assign null value at the first, and inside this, when everything is fine, we can go and we can write if. I'll just copy this condition from here, paste it over here, copy this, and which item opened, we'll assign it a value. Here we'll assign 0, and else if the content 2 or card 2 was open, I'll cut this value, paste it over here, and here we'll assign which item opened value as 1. Alright, and instead of passing payloads, we'll pass which item opened over there. And now in the on bind view folder with payloads over here, we need to change our condition. So instead of this, we'll have here we'll have 0 or payloads at position 0 equals to 1, and we need another parenthesis, and this should work. And instead of passing this, I'll pass payloads at 0 and as int. Right, then we'll go to this close expand position views, and we'll create one, we'll add one parameter which item opened. This will be of type int, and here we'll have one when statement which item opened. Here we'll check if it was 0 or if it was 1. So if it was 0 means card 1, we need to start the animations up animation, or we need to paste this in the 1, as we pass 1 value when we want to collapse or when we want to start up animation to the card 2. Alright, okay, so let's just try to run the app again. So now if I click on front end web and if I click on game, so only this is getting affected. Let me just click on this game development. You will notice this game is only collapsing and not this backend web. You will not see any animation on this item. So yeah, if I click on AI, only this was animating. Okay, so alright, everything is working fine, and yeah, I'll put source code in the description box. So if you get some errors, you can check with that, or you can DM me on Instagram at codingstuff070. Alright, so let me again walk you through what we have done in this adapter. Okay, so the first function is set child recycler view, in which we are just making our recycler card visible, and we are setting the adapter. That is simple thing. Let me just collapse this. We'll go to the init first. Okay, so in the init we are setting some properties to our recycler view, but when we click on card 1, we are initializing the animations, and we are getting the parent content from the with the help of adapter position from the list. Then we are checking if any other item is open from the list. So for that, we check with the no position. If it is not no position, then which item opened. Then we are getting temp value. This loop will return us the first matching value or first matching index. So the condition is content 1 is open or content 2 is open. It will give us the index of that item. Then we'll check if this index that we get from here is greater than equal to 0, means it is valid, And we are also checking if the temp is not equal to position, means we don't want to collapse the view that was clicked currently. So for that we are using this condition, and in here again we are checking if the content 1 is open. If content 1 is open, we'll make it false, and we'll use this flag or constant which item opened, we'll assign it 0 value. And similarly over here, then in notify item change we are passing which item opened, and in the on bind view holder with payloads we are comparing if the value is 0 or 1. If it is, then in the close expanded views we are passing these payloads, and here we have one when statement which checks for 0 and 1 value. Based on that result we are just starting the animation, up animation, and over here up animation as well, and we are making our recycler card visibility to gone. Alright, then we are just reversing the is open value, whatever it was holding a value before, we are just reversing it. So if it was false, we'll make it true. And then if the parent content, means if it is open, then we'll start the down animation, we'll move it to the down side. If it is not, then we'll move it to the upper side. Alright, similarly with this, in this card 1 we are also checking if the parent 2 was open. If it was open, we'll animate it to the upside and we'll make it false. Then we also call notify item change adapt to position with unit, so it will trigger our on bind view holder in which we called function bind. Alright, similarly with the binding card 2, these things are same. And yeah, we are in on bind view holder, we are just calling this bind function where we do our logics. Alright, so in this bind function it is pretty simple, we are just setting the data, and when true, if the 1 is open, we are just setting the data. All the data setting part is done in the bind function. Okay, so yeah, that's it for this video, and make sure you subscribe to channel for this kind of content. And yeah, thank you for watching.